So right now in this kind of number 1 and number 2 scenarios, we still have a, sometimes it's referred to as the Prussian model, where, in week 1, everyone does concept A, and then in week 2, everyone does concept B, and in week 3, everyone does concept C. And the problem with this is different people learn at different rates and take different amounts of time to learn different things. And so what this model does, it kind of moves everyone lockstep through a curriculum at the same time. It makes fixed when and how long you have to learn something, when and how long you have to learn something. And what ends up being the variable, and it has to be the variable because something has to give if you're just marching everyone together at the same pace, what's variable is how well students understand. How well students understand. And to some degree, this is true of the supplement, and this is true of even the flipped classroom, because you're still moving people together at a fixed pace. Now that we have tools, and Khan Academy we offer it for free, we're not for profit, where students can learn material at their own pace, master concepts before moving on. And so that's one of the big problems with variable learning. If you have a C understanding of basic exponents, how can we expect you, as we march you to concept B, which is logarithms or more advanced exponents, how do we expect you to have anything better than even a cursory knowledge of that next thing? And at some point, you'll hit an actual wall. So what we're saying is, why don't we let students work at their own pace, so self-paced learning, and why don't we let them master concepts before moving on? And so what happens is now the fixed idea is how well you master, so it's mastery. It's a high level of comprehension, and what's variable is when and how long students have access to learning it. And we've seen over and over again in some of the pilot classes we've done, when you allow students to all work at their own pace, master concepts before moving on, we're seeing students that 6 months ago you would have judged as maybe a remedial student or a slow student, and because they've had a chance to build their gaps and move ahead, they're now the second best or they're the first best student in the class. And it makes it difficult to even say who is a strong or a weak student. And what this self-paced mastery does, especially when you couple it with data for the teacher, is it empowers the teacher to, instead of giving a one-paste-fits-all lecture, it empowers them to do direct problem solving with students, to mentor them directly, and it frees up class time. And this stuff, the self-paced, mastery-based digital learning, can be done at home or some fraction of class time, definitely not all of class time, and it frees up time for more open-ended creative things, open-ended and creative projects. And the way I think of it, and we have been seeing this in some of the classrooms that we've been piloting, is if on this axis you imagine this is kind of breadth of understanding or breadth of material, and on this axis you imagine that this is that depth. So you can imagine over here, if something is sitting over here, this is very rote, and if something is sitting over here, this is very open-ended. So this is, if we view this row right over here as maybe math, so if math is over here, at this dimension right over here, this might be your times tables, and over here, this might be coming up with a completely new mathematical theorem, or using it to solve some algorithmic problem, or who knows what it might be, or starting or writing software of some kind. In my mind, what videos and software do is, right now, they're maybe right around here. They're right around here. They can definitely do the rote stuff, but especially in some of the videos, we take great pains to try to focus on intuition and conceptual development, and then we're working as hard as we can to do manipulatives and models and simulations so that students can start understanding things better. But as the software and the videos get better and better, and we think we are really in just the very early stages of this, what it does is it frees the teacher in the traditional classroom to have to worry about this. So right now, because of standardized testing and all of these type of things, classrooms are actually very focused on this part right over here. And instead of viewing the digital learning as a replacement for the classrooms, what it does is, if the digital learning can take care of this, it frees the classroom to focus on all of this, the classroom and the teacher. And frankly, this is what the teacher is better at. You need the human to do the mentorship. You need the human to understand the emotions of the child. You need the human being to really guide the student through rich, deep, open-ended projects. And as soon as you do this type of model where students are working at their own pace, there's open-ended things and creative things that they can do in the classroom, it allows you to actually fundamentally rethink what even the classroom might look like. If everyone's working at their own pace, do you have to separate students by age groups anymore? Do you have to separate classes that right now have artificial divisions, calculus and physics and algebra and economics. These are all related classes. Can they be merged so that students can start seeing the connections?